welcome to Discover the Wild. My name's Will. I'm one of the buffalo keepers here at the Territory Wildlife Park, and we're going to introduce you to all of our animals. So these are our water buffalo. If you spend any great amount of time, or if you've spent any great amount of time around Darwin, up here in the Northern Territory, you might have seen a water buffalo in the wild. You'll find them out throughout Arnhem Land, and you'll get them around Pine Creek, and even not far from the suburbs in Darwin. I have heard some stories of people getting their flower beds raided by water buffalo in Humpty Doo. And they've been in Australia for about 200 years. So they're a feral animal, and we have them at the park here because we do daily presentations with our buffalo. Usually like to highlight the devastating effects that they have on our native population of animals. Pretty much all the wildlife you'll see here at the park are affected in some way or another by the water buffalo. Oh, you dropped one there, Dennis. So the buffalo were introduced in the early 1800s, and the reason for that is they were going to be used as working animals. So great animals for working on farms and very well adapted to the tropical conditions that we have up here in the Northern Territory. So they originate from Southeast Asia. That's where they come from. So if you end up visiting places like Thailand or the Philippines, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, there might be a chance you'll see a water buffalo. So very well adapted to tropical climates. They do very, very well in the top end. They're vegetarians, they're herbivores, they'll basically eat anything. All types of grasses, our native grasses, native plants like the pandanus. They'll also eat a variety of different acacia species and herbaceous plants as well. So they're not fussy, they eat just about everything, but that means they compete with our native animals, our native wildlife, so our kangaroo species or our wallaby species, and they also spend a lot of time in our freshwater ecosystems. So billabongs, streams and rivers, you'll find water buffalo, and they can be pretty messy. And they're quite destructive because they'll basically damage those freshwater ecosystems, make it really hard for our other animals to thrive in. So animals like our freshwater and saltwater crocodiles. Here, Flo, do you want some of that? Reptiles, amphibians, and of course our fish and crustaceans. So if they pollute our waterways, it doesn't really leave much of a home for our native animals to thrive in. So at one stage, we had about 350,000 feral, wild, free-roaming water buffalo in the top end. And to put that in perspective, that was about half of the whole world's free-roaming water buffalo population. So a significant number. Through an extensive management program, we're able to reduce those numbers drastically. We're probably around about half of that figure now. But still causing quite a problem. So they do need to be managed, but they're an incredibly social and gregarious animal, and they'll spend a lot of time together. They'll communicate using body language, so they'll rub up against each other, and that is generally a sign of affection. But they also have some pretty serious horns as well, so they are considered a dangerous animal, and they'll use those horns to defend themselves as well against predators. Their main predator throughout Southeast Asia would be tigers, but here in the Northern Territory, humans would probably be their number one predator, and also saltwater crocodiles as well. But incredibly intelligent, so if we are going to manage them as a feral species, we do need to try and make sure we do that as humanely as possible, just to consider the welfare of the animals. Our water buffalo here at the park get looked after particularly well, and they're a very popular animal. A lot of people like to come out and see the water buffalo. Bit of an iconic species. Everybody who visits the Northern Territory does like to see a water buffalo on their travels as well. And here at the Territory Wildlife Park, we have 7 water buffalo, about 5 or 6 years old, so still quite young, that people can come and see up close and personal. And as you can see, very, very friendly. So just like all of our animals at the wildlife park, we do a bit of training and conditioning with the water buffalo as well. We really focus on target training, so this gives us some control over their movement. We work with them under protected contact, so we can use the pole as an extension of our arms and guide them where we want them to go. We do a bit of crush training, so we use the target pole to guide them into the crush, and it gives us sort of a safe working area just in case we have any medical procedures we need to carry out. We also do recall training, so in the case of an emergency, if we want to bring those buffalo off their display exhibit quickly, maybe there's a big storm coming, we can blow the whistle, they'll respond to that by running to where the sound came from. We give them a big reward afterwards. Good. There we go. Good. Thanks for watching Discover the Wild. We hope you enjoyed learning about the water buffalo. Tune in next time to learn more about the animals we have here at the Territory Wildlife Park.